I have not loved this conversation.
This is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water. Trust me, I'm like a smart person. I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius. I had the best words. Tolerate it. I know words. Mike Pounds.
I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation.
But there's no better word than stupid. Anonymous, really anonymous. I'm very highly educated.
One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
I had the best words. God bless the United States.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Around the Nation, Waldorf Nation, Jeff Waldorf here with you. Welcome to the show. It's Thursday afternoon. We got stories. We got things that we're going to talk about, of course. Always welcome as well our super chats, questions, comments, etc. Y'all know I read the chat. So I'm just saying, I do read the chat. So if you're interested in, me addressing something, you want to ask me a question, that's always fun. And so I enjoy doing that. So, all right. Anyway, so that said, what are we going to talk about today? Well, we've got Donald Trump, a fear-mongering about Christmas. Turns out if we elect Biden, Christmas will no longer exist. Santa will implode. The reindeer will all fall out of the sky, and the sleigh will crash into your house and bring socialism with it. Or something. I don't know. And the whole idea of Santa Claus is kind of socialist when you think about it. I'm just saying. All right. We'll talk about that. That's fun. We have Tucker Carlson's conspiracy. Boy, Tucker Carlson gonna blow the lid off this entire Hunter Biden thing if he didn't lose his package. Terrible. Oh, it's bad luck. We'll talk about it. We also have an interesting debate between Jon Ossoff and David Perdue that went viral. Really interesting stuff. Then we've got guns at polling places. What's going on there? And all of that. So, that's the show today. Please like and share the stream. We're on all the different platforms. We are streaming on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube Live. So do that. Help us out. Super chats, bits, helping us by subscribing and following our Twitch stream. All that wonderful stuff. Thank you for doing so. Much appreciated. Wouldn't Tucker Carlson need to have a package first in order to lose it? That's funny. Okay. Awesome. All right. That said, let's dive into it. We'll start out with how Christmas is apparently going to die.
If you vote for Biden, it means no kids in school, no graduations, no weddings, no Thanksgiving, no Christmas, and no 4th of July together. Other than that, you have a wonderful life.
That was President Donald Trump warning you about the things that are already happening under Donald Trump. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. Does he not realize that he has been president for the last 4 years? And that these things have essentially happened already. Look, personally, I don't plan on going to Thanksgiving or Christmas. I spent 4th of July socially distancing. Why? It's because the President of the United States, Donald Jack Hole Trump, did not encourage people to wear masks or socially distance. He also disbanded Obama's pandemic team, defunded the CDC, pulled experts that were supposed to monitor for any sort of sign of an emergent virus, a pandemic, a disease from Wuhan. 40 people got pulled from that and acted far too late in closing the borders to Europe and restricting travel. The only positive thing that he has done through this entire pandemic is close off the border travel from China at the behest and urging of his experts. So really, it wasn't even his idea in the first place. Of course, he likes it because I'm gonna be tough on China, even though he's got bank accounts in China. Yeah. So, and look, do you know why I'm skipping these things? Well, it's because I have family members that are elderly and have pre-existing conditions. Turns out I don't want to endanger my family. And unlike Donald Trump, they will not be airlifted to the best hospitals in order to receive taxpayer-funded experimental treatments, which is why partly why Donald Trump had actually done so well when he got coronavirus. I mean, they would either die like the 225,000 Americans or suffer organ damage or at best cause an outbreak that would possibly infect the rest of the family, community, and possibly cause deaths or organ damage to other people in the community and cause everyone to have to go into quarantine anyway for the next holiday. So that's the reality under President Donald Trump and COVID. So it's pretty effing ridiculous to come at us with the whole Joe Biden is going to make sure that you don't have Christmas or Thanksgiving or anything like that or 4th of July. He's going to destroy the holidays and then he's going to implement the socialist agenda. Wait a minute, isn't Santa Claus the whole idea of somebody flying around and giving you gifts for being good kinda socialist? Oh, that's it. Every right-winger in America has got to ban Santa Claus because he's an old socialist. What are you doing? And look, this whole thing is ridiculous. Okay? In reality, you know what Trump's more likely to do? Or at least if you follow Donald Trump's advice, it's more likely to kill your MAGA-loving grandpa when he fails to socially distance or wear a mask. Look, I'm really tired of the alternative reality. I'm pretty sure you all are too. Okay? They're living in an alternative facts world. Okay, they're all going to parties and gatherings and big old MAGA rallies and places like Sturgis with all the bikes. And they're doing it at our expense, by the way. Because then those events become super spreader events. Okay? And they go and they mix and mingle their viruses and then they take them home. We didn't get to have fun at freaking Sturgis. Okay, we didn't get to do anything like that. But yet, when they come home and they spread the virus, who pays the price? We do. We do. We all pay the price for this. And so, we're masking up. We're being responsible. We're being the actual adults in the room. All right? We're doing all the right things. And these people just go and super spreader, right? And destroy all of our efforts. You know why? It's because, well, they're irresponsible. They don't take personal responsibility. All right? And not only that, but it's because Orange Man and Fox News said, oh, don't worry about it. It's fine. We know now that the White House is literally using a herd mentality strategy to deal with the virus. You know what that basically boils down to? We've tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas. That's it. We're done. I guess we're just not going to try anymore and just let everybody get infected. That's our plan. And by the way, that herd mentality, it was tried in Sweden. It's a disaster in Sweden. They have the highest deaths per capita out of all the countries that are around them that did have social, distancing and lockdown, more strict lockdown measures. In America, which has a much larger population, if you have those same numbers per capita here in the country, in America with a much larger population, you're going to end up having at least 1 million or so people die as a result of coronavirus. That's the reality of the situation. That's what they're going to do. All we're out here doing when we mask up is we're trying to save lives. And Donald Trump and his dumbass minions are pushing herd immunity and trying to make life objectively worse for the American people. And worse up, at least Sweden has freaking universal health care. We don't in this country. We don't have universal health care. We don't even have either party that's pushing for real universal health care. So when you get sick, sorry, dude, I guess you're screwed. I guess you can go die. Or you get sick and you get a pre-existing condition from this because you get heart or lung damage or cognitive damage. There's another study that came out that people who long-term suffer from COVID have a possibility of developing cognitive issues that are long-term as a result of being exposed to the virus. Who's going to pay for that? Who's going to cover that? That's a pre-existing condition. Now, turns out your insurance company could just say, hey, you got a pre-existing condition from COVID. COVID is a pre-existing condition now. I guess we can use that to deny you coverage. You know why? You know what? That's part of the plan anyway, because Amy Coney Barrett looking to strike down the ACA, the conservative Supreme Court that's now supermajority, 6-3. Get rid of the ACA. Go back to the bad old days, which I'm not saying the ACA is fantastic. It sucks. But you go back to the, days where the insurance companies can say, oh, you got a pre-existing condition, I guess we will not cover you. And I'm sorry, but Donald Trump's weak-ass, pathetic executive order doesn't do a goddamn thing. It's got no teeth. And by the way, America, no dental coverage. So half of Donald Trump's followers also, like his executive order, probably have no teeth. You know why? No dental coverage. We don't even guarantee that in this country. It's a shame. It's a goddamn shame. Ridiculous. The worst people are running the government. The worst. Now, speaking about that, to try to salvage this segment a little bit with some fun, we've got a couple here, tweets, social media posts in response to this, and it's fun. Here's Monica Rohr saying, hey, my kids are not in school. They can't go trick-or-treating. We can't visit my father for Thanksgiving or Christmas. Remind me, who's president right now? And look, that's a fantastic point, because guess what? Donald Trump's running in the playbook of, oh, look at the terrible establishment that's been in power for 4 years. Oh, oops. I am the establishment. I am the person that's been in power for 4 years. Oh. He doesn't seem to see it, though. He just doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. More. Jennifer says, our kids may actually be in school without masks if we vote Biden. Parents and grandparents may live if we vote Biden. 229,000 dead from coronavirus, and you have no national strategy but to quit. Now, look, you guys know I'm not a fan of Biden. Obviously, Biden's going to be better on the coronavirus than Donald Trump because he's not going to pursue herd immunity. He's actually going to listen to scientists like Dr. Fauci. And by the way, speaking of Fauci, I hate this meme that people bring up, okay? Oh, man, Fauci told us not to wear masks early on in the pandemic. Okay, there's a reason for that. They wanted to reserve them for medical professionals and doctors. This is back when infections were rather low. Now, after infections started to explode, started to ramp up, and we had a supply chain of PPE for our doctors and hospitals and medical professionals. That's when, and also when the science said, hey, turns out that whole mask thing, probably a good idea to wear them. That's when Dr. Fauci was like, oh, yeah, science says, now we've done studies, guess what? You should wear your mask. And that's the thing. People who make that argument don't understand how science works. They don't understand the scientific method. They don't understand a damn thing. And maybe it's because part of them, some of them don't actually want to understand that. But it changes. Science changes when you start to know things, when you start to learn things from observation and study. That's when you can change your opinion. That's when you can change your recommendations. And that's exactly what happened. Fauci followed the scientific method. And at least with Biden, we know on that, not on fracking, but at least on that, he will follow the scientific method. Yeah. So, there's more. One more here. And it's from Hemant Mehta. Said the kids are not in school. The graduations have been canceled. Weddings have been rescheduled. Families can't get together over the holidays. That's happening because Trump and Republicans are in power. And where's the lie? Again, you've got students that were robbed of their graduation. You have people that are suffering as a result of isolation. You have kids that are not getting proper, socialization. You have parents that are overstressed. We can't even get, for the parents who want to go back to work and can't, we can't even get childcare for those people. Can't even do that. And, even without a pandemic, it's ridiculous how stupid and conservative this country is. How much we fuck over the regular average American worker. And you look at some of those other countries that can do this stuff with far less money than what we have, and far less resources than what we have. And you maybe think, where's all that money going? Well, there's a simple explanation to that. It goes into the politicians' pockets. It goes into the pockets of the corporations. Who does Donald Trump serve? The corporations. Of course. Look, as far as Trump is concerned, vote for incompetent people. You're going to get an incompetent response. What did I warn you? Years, at least a year before this pandemic happened, probably sooner, probably around 2016, I was like, hey, Donald Trump's completely and utterly incompetent. What's going to happen when there's a real crisis? What's going to happen if there is a terrorist attack? What's going to happen if there's a major world event or, God forbid, a pandemic? I remember talking about that. And now we had a pandemic, and now we see exactly what happened. You get an incompetent response that costs people their lives. We lost at least a year of our lives to this. We're probably going to lose more. Fauci says not everybody's going to get vaccinated at least until by the end of 2021 into 2022. So at least a year, probably longer, and yet this idiot and this insane followers, they continue to push this nonchalant attitude of, oh, we can do whatever we want. And by the way, if we do the responsible thing, well, then we got to cancel Christmas. So vote for me, and you get your cake. And that's what it is. They just want their cake. Screw everyone else. No, I hope we can kick them all out. We got to get rid of these people so that we can actually go back to fighting what's important. Instead of fighting, imagine this, right? Instead of fighting for hey, I think the sky is blue, and you're fighting with people who think that the sky is green or turquoise or fucking brown, we actually get to be fighting with people, the establishment, on things like higher wages, racial social justice, Medicare for all, and a Green New Deal. Fighting for those instead of fighting for what's objective reality. That's what I hope for happens after the election. All right. The frustration is real, guys and gals. The frustration is real. I feel it more acutely than I let on sometimes, but I think we all feel it. All right, let's see. A lot of comments, by the way. There's a couple that I saw. Here's some food for thought at the President GMP and yes, a few Democrats botched the relief plans in mitigating the current pandemic. What's saying they won't botch anything up next time? Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, what can we do? We've got to try to, elect people who are competent. And that's really it. What choice do we have? Let's see. There's a lot of people talking about or heating or windows or, of course, vision. All this is ridiculous how we treat people in this country. We brutalize. We may not be, brutalizing our citizens with, okay, let me come back on that because we kind of are brutalizing some of our citizens with like police and military nightsticks and tear gas and all that stuff. If you happen to be a protester, you're absolutely being brutalized. But we also just brutalized regular people who are not protesting anything, who are just trying to live their lives as well. Again, with police, but also with the lack of services, with the lack of things like affordable child care, or child care that's free so that people can go to work. Families can make money and do all this stuff. We are brutal to our own citizens. Again, no vision, no dental, no health care for millions of people. Like copays. What the hell's a copay? Right? If you go to Europe, they ask you that question. What's a copay? I don't understand the whole concept. Please explain it to me. What a copay is, what a deductible is. Because we don't have any of that shit, depending on the country where you go to. And so it's just ridiculous. All right, anyway, we got to go to the Tucker story. Fox News host Tucker Carlson wants you to know that he has got the proof, man. He has got the proof about Hunter Biden. That is going to blow this whole Hunter and Joe Biden thing wide open, which is, by the way, why you should not elect Joe Biden. And he'd love to show you that mountain of evidence. But unfortunately for him and for us, for America, it got lost in the mail.
So on Monday
If you
of this
vote
week,
for
we received
Biden, it
from a
means
source
no
a
kids
collection
in
of
school,
confidential
no graduate.
documents related to the Biden family. We believe those documents are authentic, they're real, and they're damning. At the time we received them, my executive producer, Justin Wells, and I were in Los Angeles preparing to interview Tony Bobolinsky about the Biden's business dealings in China, Ukraine, and other countries. So we texted a producer in New York, and we asked him to send those documents to us in LA, and he did that. So Monday afternoon of this week, he shipped those documents overnight to California with a large national carrier, a brand name company that we've used, you've used countless times with never a single problem. But the Biden documents never arrived in Los Angeles. Tuesday morning, we received word from the shipping company that our package had been opened and the contents were missing. The documents had disappeared. Now, to its credit, the company took this very seriously and immediately began a search. They traced the envelope from the moment our producers dropped it off in Manhattan on Monday all the way to 3:44 a.m. yesterday morning. That's when an employee at a sorting facility in another state noticed that our package was open and empty. Apparently it had been opened. So the company's security team interviewed every one of its employees who touched the envelope we sent. They searched the plane and the trucks that carried it. They went through the office in New York where our producer dropped that package off. They combed the entire cavernous sorting facility. They used pictures of what we had sent so that searchers would know what to look for. They went far and beyond, but they found nothing. Those documents have vanished. as of tonight, the company has no idea and no working theory even about what happened to this trove of materials, documents that are directly relevant to the presidential campaign just 6 days from now. We spoke to executives at that company a few hours ago. They seemed baffled and deeply bothered by this, and so are we.
I got questions. There's a lot of questions. All right. And surprisingly, unsurprisingly, none of them have to do with, like, Hunter Biden. But this evidence, this so-called damning evidence, and how apparently careless they seem to be with it. For one, the most obvious question here is, why didn't they make a fucking backup? That's like, you would think that would be hot evidence 101. Why not make a backup? It is the year 2020. Does your source not have a smartphone that can take pictures? You take a picture of the documents. That at least is some sort of proof that they exist. Scan them into your computer, perhaps. Tucker Carlson is a millionaire at Fox News. You don't think that he could afford to send his source to Kinko's to make a couple of copies? Hello? Are you serious right now? What is this? Oh, man. I got the documents. I'm going to blow this thing wide open. Boy, my source got the documents. He's got the goods. They're going to send it to me. First off, you're going to send it from, you're going to send it to L.A. Or was it from L.A.? I don't know where the Tucker Carlson studios are at. You're going to send it all that way. Why don't you just email it? Or without at least making a copy? It doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. Oh, man. You know, it was going to really make that case against Hunter Biden. But turns out my dog ate it. Or it got lost in the mail. Or, you know, all that stuff. I mean, has he never even heard of an email? Of course he's heard of an email. He only talked about Hillary Clinton's emails nonstop over the past 4 years. Okay, what about backing them up to the freaking cloud? You're telling me that your source had the smoking gun of evidence and didn't make a single fucking backup. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. How stupid does he think his audience is? Understand, Tucker's not a dumb person. Now, Tucker Carlson is paid to say dumb things to a dumb audience, or at least to dumb down his audience so that the Republican Party can keep picking their pockets. But that's it. He must really believe his audience members are a bunch of idiots to use the dog ate my homework excuse. Or in this case, the deep state must have stole my evidence from the plane. And nobody knows what happens. This is not something that actually happens in reality. You cannot show me the absence of evidence to prove that your evidence is real. You actually have to produce something. But what he has done, what Tucker Carlson has done with all these conspiracies about the deep state and Hunter Biden, whatever, is he's painted himself into a corner, to which now he has to create even more elaborate, insane conspiracies in order to back up the lack of evidence of the original conspiracy theory. It is the snowball effect of a lie. It is basically the meme with the steamed hams. Remember the steamed hams? Oh, these taste a lot like Krusty Burgers. Oh, no, they're my original recipe. I call them steamed hams. I thought we were going to have steamed clams. Oh, no, we call them steamed hams. Obviously, they're grilled, but we call them steamed. It's an ancient Skinner recipe, family recipe. And that turned into somehow Aurora Borealis located specifically in Principal Skinner's kitchen, to which Chalmers was not allowed to see that. Sorry, is that Aurora Borealis? Can I see it? No, you can't. It's so dumb. It's dumb. It's a meme. He's literally turned this into a meme. Okay, if this is their October surprise, it is an absolute 100% fail. But again, it's a way to continue spinning more and more conspiracies out of this. Because, of course, his audience is going to be like, oh, my God, the deep state. I can't believe they go and invade Tucker Carlson's mail that's addressed to him. Oh, man, boy, those people are so insidious. They really want to stop that evidence. Oh, boy. And by the way, you notice that it's a little suspicious that they didn't even use the shipping company name. Like, it's a very reputable shipping company. You and I, you've used it, I've used it. I'm going to not say the name of the shipping company. Why? Why would you not do that? Why would you not tell us, yeah, send it via UPS, man? Or it got sent via UPS. Never showed up. What, is it because UPS is a sponsor? I don't know if they're a sponsor. But why didn't you say that? That doesn't make any sense. There's so much here that is very, very questionable about this entire thing. No, Tucker Carlson. Look, I can almost bet that this never happened. This is the laptop conspiracy, which again also has gigantic holes in it. Gigantic holes. Going to, for example, Hunter Biden just dropped off this laptop. This is rando place, and then they're opening it up, which of course is something that you shouldn't be doing. And it turns out, I guess the owner of the shop is an avid Trump supporter that when questioned about the contents of the laptop, that is supposedly the laptop from hell, and full of Hunter Biden secrets. Well, I mean, I can't really answer the question about what's actually on it all that much. Oh, man, sorry. You expect us to believe this. Well, we don't. But there are people in this country who do. And these are Tucker Carlson's, that's his audience, that he is successfully, he and Fox News, the rest of Fox News and conservative media, have dumbed down to believe in insane things and not objective reality. It's sad. Moving on. One more video for you guys. And hopefully it doesn't glitch out like it did before. Something very interesting happened during a Democratic debate in Georgia. It's actually a Democrat versus Republican debate. And in this debate, a Democrat actually got tough on a Republican. Watch.
Well, perhaps Senator Perdue would have been able to respond properly to the COVID-19 pandemic if you hadn't been fending off multiple federal investigations for insider trading. It's not just that you're a crook, Senator. It's that you're attacking the health of the people that you represent. You did say COVID-19 was no deadlier than the flu. You did say there would be no significant uptick in cases. All the while, you were looking after your own assets and your own portfolio, and you did vote 4 times to end protections for pre-existing conditions. 4 times. And the legislation that you tout, the PROTECT Act, it includes loopholes that specifically allow insurance companies to deny policies to Georgians with pre-existing conditions. Can you look down the camera and tell the people of this state why you voted 4 times to allow insurance companies to deny us health coverage because we may suffer from diabetes or heart disease or asthma or have cancer in remission? Why, Senator?
Damn. Okay. I like this. We know it's practiced, obviously, of course, right? It delivered extremely well. Jon Ossoff, hey, good for you. You delivered that blow very, very well. And it's all true. Yes, he is a crook. Not because he's a Republican, right? Although that tends to go hand in hand, but there are, of course, crooks that are Democrats. But as he correctly pointed out, David Perdue had made some pretty shady-ass stock trades involving coronavirus before the public knew about the threat. Remember, there was a bunch of senators, including a couple of Democrats, who made some stock trades, some buying stock in medical supply companies, around the time where Congress was informed about the threat of coronavirus. Now, the Congress was informed, while some of these same senators that had received this information and made these stock trades we're saying, oh, no, don't worry. We've got coronavirus all under control. It's going to be fine. It's not going to be a major issue in this country, so don't worry about it. All while they're like, dump the stock, dump the stock, dump the stock. Oh, and then we're going to go and invest in Zoom. We're going to invest in these telecommunications stuff. We're going to invest in like Ubers or whatever. We're going to invest in all this stuff that's related to a pandemic, medical supply companies, people who make PPE, et cetera, and pull our stocks out of other things. Remember, Kelly Loeffler's a great example of that. Insider trading. That's what it is. That's why he's a crook. Insider trading. So, yes, they knew about that. They made money, or at least they saved some of their money from, obviously, or saved themselves from losing money on their portfolios. I mean, for example, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported in April that Purdue made at least 112 transactions back in March, including purchases of stocks in a company that makes medical gear. Again, Congress, they knew about this. They knew about the severity. They knew about the problems related with coronavirus. The president obviously knew about it. I've had you listen to the Woodward tapes. And instead of warning the public, the first thing they all did, all of them, was dump stocks, protected their millions in dollars of investments. It's incredibly sick. It is a broken system. What we need a system is, what we need to do in this system is if you're going to go into public service, you are not allowed to own stock. You can buy stock when you're out of public service, when you're no longer a senator or congressman or whatever, then you can own stocks. But if you become a public servant, you have to divest. That's it. It needs to be a law. Not just like, oh, it's a norm. It's something that you're kind of expected to do, but you really don't have to do. Again, a great example of this is Jimmy Carter with his peanut farm. He was expected to sell his peanut farm, to divest from it, and guess what? He did. Because it could have been a conflict of interest for him as president. Yet Donald Trump can continue to be part of the Trump organization and not have to divest from that business. Oh, but you understand, I've got Eric and I've got Don Jr. They're running the company for me, and so it's fine. No, it's not fine. You should have to divest from this business. We wouldn't have an issue with insider trading if they were required to divest from all of their businesses by law. And let me tell you, that would probably discourage a lot of people from getting into politics in the first place. They wouldn't be running for office if like, oh, no, I got to give up my businesses. I got to give up my investments. The whole reason that I get into politics is to pump up my investments and to make money, to become a career politician. Well, geez, if you're gonna make it so that I can't do that, then why would I want to be a politician? Good. I don't want you as a politician if your only aim is to freaking make money. No. What we want in politicians is people who actually want to serve the people and serve the United States, serve their constituents, and make this country a better country. That's what we want. We want you to put the voters first, not your own freaking finances. That said, look, I think Ossoff did a great job here, but he is a corporate dem. And understand that, right? So that matters because Purdue is going to come back and he's going to make all these false assertions, right? And it kind of shows you what kind of campaign he's running as well. And so Ossoff is better than Purdue, obviously. Purdue voted to destroy the ACA. Now, again, you guys know I'm not a huge fan of the ACA. But if you get rid of the ACA, millions of people lose their health insurance, including the millions of people that have actually gotten insurance through our Medicaid program, through the Medicaid expansion. That allowed millions in poverty to be able to actually get health care in the states that have expanded their Medicaid programs. That's a good thing. Now, the ACA, again, sucks ass, but we can make it better. We can transform it until we finally get a majority in Congress and a president who is willing to sign Medicare for all. That is the goal, folks. Medicare for all. We will not stop pushing for Medicare for all. I don't like incremental change, but if we're going to make any sort of change, if we're going to be able to do anything, at least we could use that to get to Medicare for all. I don't care how we do it. one giant push, obviously I'm in favor of that approach, of a one giant push. But if we have to, we will use the system as it works in order to get our freaking goal. The policies are the most important thing. How you get there is important, but not the most important thing. The important thing is that we freaking get there. That's the whole point, okay? We've got to get there. We've got to get there. Now, Jon Ossoff does not want to get there. He wants to save the ACA, tweak it around the edges, just like Joe Biden. Okay, that sucks, but whatever. Better than, obviously, getting rid of it and making things worse. Now, Perdue comes back and he says, oh, well, this guy, Ossoff, super progressive. No, he's not. Not at all. On Wednesday, he falsely accused Ossoff of backing the Green New Deal and claiming that he supported socialized medicine. Dude, I wish. Oh, I freaking wish. I wish these Democrats would support the Green New Deal and socialized medicine. That would be fantastic. Guess what? That would actually literally make America great again. But no. Perdue also claimed that Ossoff was endorsed by the Communist Party of the United States. No, dude, the Communist Party, they have standards. Okay, Ossoff is way too conservative for them. So that really shows you that no matter what kind of Democrat runs, and this should really destroy that narrative of we can't nominate somebody that's too far left because they're going to call him a socialist, they're going to call him a communist, and then what? What we have right now is where you have a milquetoast Democrat that runs, and that milquetoast Democrat gets called a communist socialist, and then he runs away from incredibly popular policies like Medicare for All and the Green New Deal. And they run away from that. Whereas if you actually have a progressive in there, they're going to be like, yeah, I'm in favor of things that are popular. What are you in favor of? Also, you're freaking corrupt. So, yeah, it turns out people are also against your kind of corruption. That's how the left can win. That's how the left can win. And so, unfortunately, we don't have that kind of race in Georgia this time. But we can. We can have that. And so, understand, right now, this is a tight race. This is neck and neck in Georgia, okay, of all places. And while Ossoff is not the kind of Democrat that I prefer, not progressive, I'm going to take him over Trump flack any day. For now, until we primary his ass and then replace him with someone that Perdue and Republicans can really be scared of. All right. I'm going to take a break. We're going to come back. I do want to talk about guns at polling places. This is really important stuff. So we'll do that story and then probably round out the show. So stay right here, Around the Nation. We'll be back with one more story after this break, as well as thanking some patrons, super chats, and reading some comments. All right. Stay right here. We'll be back in a minute. Around the Nation.
Burmecia. Burmecia. They say, pronounce it Burmecia. A real beautiful company.
I will eat your ass.
Tighten up my meat. I like my meat tight.
Everybody, welcome back to the show. Around the Nation, right here, Waldorf Nation. Jeff Waldorf here with you. All right, so we've got a lot of people to thank. For one, I want to thank Trash E Plays over on Twitch for the raid. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for those of you who have stayed. That's pretty awesome. So please follow us for more political stuff, also for gaming stuff later on in the day. We do a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun on this channel, weirdly enough. All right, so thank you. In fact, there was a comment here on Twitch that was really good about the Tucker Carlson story. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Crazy Hawaiian in PA says, supposedly UPS, came forward and said it was them, and also they found the documents. Oh my God, they found the documents. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a bombshell. I'm pretty sure it's going to be... Because why would he have to come up with that? We'll see what the bombshell is. They found the package at least. All right. So 20 on Twitch. That's awesome. Thank you to our Twitch viewers. Let's go over to I'm sorry, not Facebook. Over to YouTube here. Beach Sand, thank you. LL with the very kind $10, saying, I love this. This is the best. This is probably one of the best super chats. I got free delivery insurance in the case of maxi pads I ordered yesterday, but Tucker Carlson can't even get a tracking number and it's Hunter Biden evidence. Oh, I love that. That is such a great comment. Awesome. And Sarchek says, I already voted absentee September 29th. Vote has been registered and counted. I went to my polling place, and I did see people with guns in Georgia. That does not surprise me at all. So everybody in those states, please stay safe. I mean, you can't really mess around with that. All right. Let's see. Pablo Inez Jimenez on the Tucker Carlson story says Carson has never opened mail. Apparently he's an entertainer. Oh, that's regarding that court case. You're referring to the court case where Tucker Carlson's like, oh, no reasonable person would ever take me seriously. I mean, come on, what am I, a news guy? No, I'm an entertainer. And then James Blinn adds, Tucker's so full of shit. There you go. Great comments, everybody. Patrons, I want to thank Linda and O. Just O. Or is that? Yeah, that's an O. So thank you for supporting independent progressive media. You can sign up by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Or you can go to our channel membership page and become a channel member like Lot Anderson and Thomas Mundo. So that's, again, Super Chat hitting, not just Super Chat, I'm sorry, but membership, channel membership by hitting the join button below. And, of course, Super Chats, thank you for those, too. On Twitch, you can do, like, bits and stuff, too, which is pretty awesome. But I haven't had any of those yet today. Soon, I hope. Soon. All right. Let's go to the guns. It's a ridiculous story. We have 5 days till the election, and many people have already voted. Many are still planning to vote or are voting right now. And unfortunately, in a lot of states, these in-person voters run into so-called poll watchers, a lot of whom who are armed. In fact, in some of the weeks leading up to the election, there have been an organized push from right-wing groups to get people to show up to the polls openly carrying guns. So now, there's only one reason, in my opinion, why you would want to show up to a polling place with an open carry weapon. That is to intimidate voters. Now, despite that fact, and I believe that is a fact, there's no real argument to that fact. You are there for voter intimidation. It's intimidation that goes back decades. Even like over 100 years, I would think, after the Civil War, where you had people that would show up to the polls and try to prevent black people from exercising their vote. That was the whole point of the KKK, for example, is to terrorize black people so much that they wouldn't use their gained rights after the Civil War. Now, each state, by the way, has their own laws, whether or not they permit guns at voting locations, but there are only about a dozen states that explicitly ban open and or concealed carry of firearms to polls. So now, for me, let me be clear. This is about open carry. If you conceal carry, then that's not voter intimidation. If you conceal carry, nobody can see that you have a gun. Now, I would still say that kind of unnecessary, but whatever. All right, that's my opinion, man. And I understand that. But if you're open carrying, you are a dork. You are an idiot. You are not somebody who I trust to have a gun because you are out there brandishing it in order to intimidate other people. And that's the problem, okay? Now gun rights groups, they're complaining that these bans, that's disenfranchising them from their vote. But you don't use your gun to vote. Why do you need the gun at the polling place? No, what has more of an impact? Okay, let me ask you a question. Who do you think has more of an impact on whether or not people vote? Having to leave your gun at home in order to go cast your ballot for 15 minutes, or however long it takes to get to your polling place, and understand that a lot of these areas where you have people that are, carrying around guns, generally the people that carry around the guns tend to be older white conservatives who, in my experience, and I know this is anecdotal, in my experience, tend to not have to wait very long to vote. The lines are usually very short in these small rural areas. Understand that, of course, in larger cities, which tend to be more dominated by minorities or Democrats, and generally where these armed people like to show up, there are longer lines. And so longer lines, more people waiting, more chances for people to be intimidated out of line. I mean, look, you get long lines, it's cold outside, you got stuff to do. You want to wait to vote, you want to exercise your right to vote, and then you get these assholes that show up with long guns. You can definitely tell what side they're on of the issues, even though you've got gun owners that are Democrats as well, that are liberals, that are progressive even, that own guns. They're not the ones that are showing up to the polls with open long guns, with open carry. So you can kind of tell what side they're on of these issues. And so, look, I would say having more of an impact on whether or not you stay in line to vote would be people showing up with guns. Some people might be like, hey, no, look, I'm out. Like, I don't want to get shot for voting for a Democrat. All right, I'm getting out of here. It is very possible that a lot of people would feel intimidated by a bunch of white people running around with AR-15s at the full place. So as Josh Horowitz, who is the executive director of the Coalition to Stop Gun Violence, said in an interview, quote, "Showing up with a gun with the intent to show it really violates the norms of our democracy. There's a continuum of intimidation, and a certain segment of the gun-owning population, these really extreme gun rights radicals, think that bringing a gun to all these places is a political statement. That statement is, I'm better than you, my voice matters more than yours." And I think it's a little bit more than that. I think it also means I got the guns, I got the weapons, I got the power. Don't you dare vote for people that, that I would disagree with. People who would dare do gun control measures or anything like that. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. All right. So now the issue, by the way, I live in Michigan. This has come to a head in my own state. Jocelyn Benson, who is our Secretary of State, announced a ban earlier this month on the open carry of firearms within 100 feet of polling locations. So this was supposed to be a way to protect the polls against that voter intimidation, which is illegal by the law. That said, if you're a conservative person in Michigan, you were incensed by this. All right. So now they brought it to court. The Republican Party, the NRA, these gun rate groups, they brought it to the courts, and a judge ended up striking down the open carry ban. Benson says she'll appeal it, but unfortunately for now, if you're out there voting, I mean, you might end up running into some crazy person with a long gun. And all you're trying to do is just exercise your constitutional duty in casting your ballot. But that's just Michigan. And of course, Michigan's an important state. We're a swing state. And so our votes matter quite a bit. Last time we went to Donald Trump. There's a chance that we'll go to Biden or Trump this time. And so we'll have to see what happens. But at the same time, it's not just our state. There are other states as well. And it's actually been encouraged nationally for this to happen. In fact, Donald Trump, the Trump campaign itself, has been aggressively recruiting poll watchers to join what they call the Army for Trump, which is basically a bunch of people who think that there is rampant voter fraud based on conspiracy theories. There's no actual rampant voter fraud, and they can't prove it. The Republican Party itself did numerous investigations. Trump himself did an investigation into voter fraud, found nothing. They found absolutely nothing. But there's a conspiracy theory that Biden is going to use voter fraud to steal the election. And that's perpetuated by Donald Trump. Now, there's no evidence of that. And in fact, it might actually be the opposite that's happening, where Donald Trump will disenfranchise as many, enough people using mail-in ballots to where he could win the Electoral College. And so that is a concern, and that is backed up by factual information. The fact that Amy Coney Barrett was on Bush's legal team back in 2000, along with, of course, Judge Kavanaugh and Justice Roberts. They all worked on the Bush versus Gore legal case in 2000 that decided the 2000 election. And they argued, by the way, that mail-in ballots, which were going to go for mostly for George W. Bush, should be counted, and yet they ruled in Wisconsin that they should not be counted if they're postmarked by the election date. If they don't arrive by the day of the election. So I'm just saying, there is some evidence that it's certainly possible that Trump wants to steal the election, and that's why he's been talking about, of course, denigrating mail-in ballots, which are perfectly legal and perfectly fine, and actually have very low levels of voter fraud. But as I said before, this is a common theme among Republicans, pushing these poll watchers and these armed, people that don't necessarily have an official function to these polls, to these polling stations. And a lot of them will be armed. I mean, for example, last week, 2 armed Trump supporters wearing security guard uniforms showed up near a polling place in Florida. They claimed that they were hired by the Trump campaign. Now, the Trump campaign says, oh, no, we didn't hire anybody. Well, they were unofficial poll watchers who believed that they were official. And then you have a lot of that because you have Donald Trump going out there saying, go to your polling place, become a poll watcher, and they don't go through the official, because there is an official sign up to be a sanctioned poll watcher in a lot of states. Some people don't do that. They just think, I'm going to grab my gun and I'm going to go watch the polls. What are they watching for? Minorities. Usually. Now, there was another situation that happened earlier this month. It was a private security company called Atlas Aegis that tried to recruit former members of the military to guard polling places in Minnesota, again, against minorities. And here's the tell, by the way. I'm not just saying that flippantly. They tried to guard Minnesota polling places, businesses, and residents from, quote, looting and destruction. This was happening during the wake of the George Floyd protests. Looting and destruction. State's Attorney General Keith Ellison reached a settlement with Atlas Aegis, in which the group agreed not to provide election-related security. Let's show how that went. And in Iowa, election officials are getting ready for intimidation as a result of a new state law prohibiting a ban on firearms in city or government buildings. That is unless, of course, you have an armed security guard that is present. So they will now post armed security guards in these places, which would, of course, allow for these places, government buildings, to be filled with people who are open carrying weapons, bringing their guns to vote. Again, no problem with concealed carry. The open carry is what causes the intimidation. The open carry is the problem. As Eliza Swearingen-Becker says this, and she is the counsel in the Brennan Center's Voting Rights and Elections program, quote, the rhetoric around these issues is intentionally voter suppression. It's intentionally trying to discourage voters from participating by scaring them away from the polls. It's not just a rhetoric, it's just a showing up too. But she's right. I mean, why do you feel the need to open carry at a polling place? Unless you're doing suppression. Unless your message is, you better stay in line. Like, not as far as stay in line to vote. No, you better vote for people that I think. And look, that's the thing. They can't see who people are voting for. But you can make some assumptions. A lot of black people vote for Democrats. I think, 90% are going to go to Biden this time? That's who they're looking out for. That's who they're trying to intimidate. And that's the areas in which they go in order to carry their guns and intimidate these voters. So that's what they're doing. That's why, of course, I mean, I don't know what we can actually do about this. If you feel like you're being intimidated, if you're being harassed, there are hotlines that you can go to. There are places that you can call. And so people you can get in contact with if you feel like you're being, suppressed, or if you feel like you're being voter intimidated. And they will do something about it. But other than that, what can we do to prevent these situations? And I honestly don't have an answer. Other than, of course, making sure to vote for people who will put a stop to this. It's a bit of a sobering story when you think about it. All right. Just tell them to F off. I mean, yay, some people could. And that's great if you can do that. You're supposed to call the FBI. Yep, there are places you can definitely call. So that's good. Yeah, it's just, I mean, it is, there are a lot of black Americans who are disillusioned with the Democrats and aren't feeling Biden. There are, but still, 90% of registered black voters indicated that they will go to Biden. That doesn't mean that's the entire black community, because there are unregistered voters, people who don't plan on voting the election. And certainly I'm not saying that that's a monolith or anything like that. But generally the black community is not voting for Donald Trump. They're voting against Donald Trump. So it's weird that I get... Sometimes, I love y'all. I do. I feel like I gotta be eggshells around that sometimes. I don't know. Trump is a danger not only for the U.S. but for the whole world. Yeah, I agree with that, and that's why we should vote against him. All right. Feels like it's been a pretty long segment, so. All right. But that's unfortunately all we got time for. So we're out of time. I want to thank everybody for joining in, for watching the show. Please, again, follow us on Twitch. Thank you, Crazy Hawaiian NPA, for the sub, for the tier 1 sub. Appreciate that. That's on Twitch. Super chats here. Let's go over to this. Runnits with the unkind $10. I hate you. Here's money. Thank you. I do appreciate it, though. I do appreciate it. Okay, let's see. It's a federal crime to show any support for any one candidate at an election polling station. It's true, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be followed. So, just be careful. Is Biden going to win? I have no idea. I mean, it's likely, but we don't know until the vote is counted. And so that's not going to happen on election day, unfortunately. And that's something to be concerned about. That is something to be concerned about. So I do worry. All right. Facebook as well. Let's see what's going on Facebook. Apparently, okay, the comment's iffy. Nobody speaks like this. The so-called statistician. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but thank you for watching anyway. All right. All right, everybody, please be careful. If you're going out to vote, which I would definitely now encourage you to vote in person, to make sure that your vote gets on time and gets counted. But if you're going to go, do the right things, mask up, bring your hand sanitizer, make sure to be careful as much as you can, and get that vote counted. So that's it. Thank you guys. Love you. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. We'll see you tomorrow.
Are you kicking me out the door?
Please clap.
I will eat your ass.
Why? You're getting nervous, man.
Mike Pence.
With sharks, NATO, acceptable.
I have not loved this conversation.
There's some whores in this house.
Are you kicking me out the door? You're kicking me out the door.